The signal came from the depths of space, an eerie transmission laced with cryptic symbols and indecipherable frequencies. It had been looping for days, its origin traced to a dark sector beyond known star charts, an empty void where nothing should exist. Dr. Evelyn Carter, chief astrophysicist at the Deep Space Research Initiative, stared at the waveforms dancing across her monitor. The anomaly defied explanation. For years, humanity had listened to the cosmos, yearning for proof of intelligent life. Now it had arrived, but something about it felt wrong. "Run it through decryption again," she said, her voice edged with urgency. Her assistant, Julian, hesitated. "We've tried every known algorithm. It's structured, but not in any language we've encountered. It's like it's meant to be understood by something else," Evelyn finished, a cold realization sinking in. Across the room, a separate alert chimed. Another signal had been detected. This time it was different. It was in English. The room fell silent as the transmission played. A deep, distorted voice resonated through the speakers. "Do not believe their lies. They are already here." A chill ran down Evelyn's spine. "Who sent this?" she demanded. Julian's fingers danced across the console. "Cross-referencing now, but there's no source. It's as if it came from nowhere." The facility's emergency alarm suddenly blared, flashing red strobes casting jagged shadows across the lab. A new transmission hijacked every screen, replacing star charts and data feeds with a symbol, an alien sigil, glowing an ominous shade of blue. Then, another message scrolled across the monitors, burned into the screen in bold, unforgiving letters. "They walk among you." Evelyn's breath caught in her throat. A creeping sense of dread settled over her as she turned to Julian. "Get me the director, now." Little did she know, it was already too late. Dr. Evelyn Carter's hands trembled as she reached for the console. The chilling message, "They walk among you," still pulsed on every screen, its ominous glow casting an eerie reflection across the lab. The entire Deep Space Research Initiative had gone silent, save for the droning alarm that signaled an internal security lockdown. "Julian," Evelyn said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Shut it down. Wipe the data. Now!" Julian's fingers hovered over the keyboard, hesitation in his eyes. What if this is our only proof? What if we delete the one thing that could warn the world? And what if keeping it gets us killed? Evelyn shot back. "Something else is listening. Something already here." Julian swallowed hard, then nodded. He executed a hard wipe, erasing all traces of the alien transmissions. But before he could complete the sequence, the lab doors hissed open. A figure stood in the doorway, silhouetted against emergency lighting. Director Elias Voss. His expression was unreadable, his sharp gray eyes flicking between Evelyn and Julian. Behind him, two security officers stood rigid, their hands resting on holstered weapons. "Step away from the console," Voss ordered, his tone dangerously calm. Evelyn's pulse spiked. "Director, something is wrong. That transmission, it wasn't just a message. It was a warning. We're not alone." Voss exhaled slowly, his gaze settling on the flickering screens. "I know, and that's exactly why we can't let this get out." Before Evelyn could react, the two security officers moved forward. "Dr. Carter, Dr. Julian, you are both to be placed under containment until further notice." "What?" Julian's voice cracked. "You can't be serious. We're scientists, not criminals." Evelyn took a step back, her mind racing. The pieces were falling into place. The sudden lockdown, the immediate response, the way Voss wasn't surprised by the message. "You knew," she whispered. "You knew they were here." Voss met her gaze, something dark and unreadable flickering behind his expression. "Dr. Carter, this is bigger than you realize. Now, please, come quietly." The lab had no windows, no alternative exits. They were trapped. Julian clenched his fists, panic evident in his features. "Evelyn, what do we do?" She glanced at the console, at the last remaining fragments of the transmission. Then she looked at Voss, at the security officers, at the gleaming silver badge on their uniforms. Something about it shimmered in the dim light, like it wasn't metal. like it was something alive. Evelyn's breath hitched. "Run," she whispered. Then all hell broke loose. Julian didn't hesitate. The moment Evelyn whispered run, his instincts kicked in. He lunged to the emergency exit panel on the far side of the lab, slamming his palm against the override switch. Red warning lights flared as the alarm blared louder, signaling an unauthorized breach. "Stop them," Voss barked, reaching for his comm device. But Evelyn was faster. She grabbed a steel canister from a nearby equipment rack and hurled it at the overhead lights. The impact shattered the bulbs, plunging the room into flickering darkness. Julian yanked the access hatch open. "Go! Now!" Evelyn dove through first, landing hard on the maintenance walkway below. Julian followed, sealing the hatch behind them just as a burst of gunfire ricocheted against the metal. Their pursuers wouldn't be far behind. The maintenance corridors beneath the research facility were a labyrinth of pipes, vents, and concealed passages, normally used for servicing critical systems. Now, it was their only escape route. Evelyn's mind raced as she ran. Voss had known. The security officers had known. And that badge, whatever it wasn't human technology, which meant the conspiracy ran deeper than they'd ever imagined. Julian panted beside her. "We need to reach the comms tower. If we can get a message out." "No!" Evelyn cut him off. "If Voss and his people are compromised, then they'll have already locked down all outgoing transmissions. We need to get off this base entirely." Julian paled. "You mean steal a shuttle?" "Exactly." A distant explosion rattled the structure. The facility was on high alert. Every exit would be sealed, every corridor crawling with armed guards. And yet, something inside Evelyn whispered that the guards weren't the only ones hunting them. Something else was lurking in the shadows. As they turned a corner, Evelyn pulled Julian to a sudden stop. A figure stood in the dimly lit hallway ahead. Not a soldier. Not Voss. Something wrong. Its silhouette flickered, shifting like static. Its features blurred, as if reality itself was struggling to define its existence. Julian took a shaky step back. "Evelyn, what the hell is that?" The figure turned its head toward them, though it had no eyes, no mouth, no expression. And yet, Evelyn felt its gaze burrowing into her mind. Then it moved, not with footsteps, not with motion. 1 second it was distant. The next it was inches away. A wave of nausea slammed into Evelyn as her vision distorted, reality warping around the being. Julian collapsed beside her, clutching his head in agony. A voice, no, a presence, spoke directly into her thoughts. "You were not supposed to see." Pain erupted behind her eyes. Her memories fractured, time twisted. Then everything went black. Darkness. Silence. Evelyn's mind drifted through an endless void. Her consciousness struggled against an invisible force, something holding her in place. Something alien. A distant hum resonated in the background, rhythmic and unnatural, like the whisper of foreign intelligence probing her very thoughts. Then light. Her eyes fluttered open, vision blurry and distorted. A cold surface pressed against her back. The air smelled sterile, metallic, artificial. She wasn't in the research facility anymore. Panic surged through her veins as her senses returned. A soft blue glow illuminated the curved walls of the chamber she was in. Symbols, neither human nor recognizable, pulsed across the ceiling, shifting in ways her brain refused to comprehend. Her wrists and ankles were bound by some kind of transparent restraint, though no material seemed to be holding her in place. A groan echoed from nearby. "Julian." She turned her head, heart pounding. He was strapped to a similar surface, his face twisted in pain, eyes flickering as if caught in a nightmare. "Julian," she hissed. "Wake up." Her voice barely carried in the thick atmosphere. It was as if the very air absorbed sound, muffling everything. Then a presence. The same flickering entity that had appeared in the corridor, now materialized at the far end of the chamber. But this time it was more defined. Its form stabilized, revealing an elongated humanoid figure, draped in a flowing, obsidian-like robe. No eyes, no mouth, only a featureless void where a face should have been. Evelyn's breath caught. The thing raised a hand, or what passes one, and the restraints around her wrists and ankles faded away. She immediately sat up, muscles aching, mind reeling. The being spoke, but not in words. You see beyond the veil. A ripple of energy pulsed through Evelyn's thoughts, carrying meaning without sound. She clutched her head, gasping as memories flooded back. Voss, the facility, the deception, the badge. She narrowed her eyes at the entity. Who are you? It tilted its head, a slow, deliberate motion. We are the architects, the forgotten, the erased. A shiver ran down her spine. Erased? By who? The ones you trust. A sudden tremor shook the chamber, distant alarms blaring in an unrecognizable frequency. The entity turned sharply, its form flickering. Julian stirred, his breathing ragged as he finally regained consciousness. Evelyn? What's happening? She barely had time to respond before the walls of their prison shifted, rearranging as if reality itself was bending. The entity extended a hand toward her, a ripple of light forming between them. Decide quickly. Truth or oblivion. Evelyn met its gaze, or where its gaze should have been. Then, without hesitation, she took its hand. Evelyn barely registered the sensation of falling, of space and time bending around her, as the entity pulled her to the ripple of light. One moment, she stood within the cold, metallic walls of the chamber, and the next, she was somewhere else. It was an expanse beyond understanding, an infinite void, neither dark nor light, filled with shifting fractals of energy and cascading streams of knowledge. It wasn't empty. It was alive. Julian gasped beside her, struggling to process what he was seeing. Where were we? Between the lie and the truth. The entity's voice resonated through their minds, not as sound but as pure meaning. Evelyn clenched her fists, steadying herself as her body adjusted to the strange weightlessness. You said we were erased. That they erased you. Who are they? The energy around them coalesced, forming vast, towering structures that pulsed with information. Images flashed within them. Scenes from human history. Civilizations rising and falling, wars fought, victories claimed, losses suffered. And then, beneath it all, shadows. The architects of control. The silent rulers of your species. They have shaped your destiny, hidden in plain sight. A new vision took form. Earth, but not as Evelyn knew it. A vast network of unseen structures lay beneath the surface, conduits of alien design stretching across continents. Beings, neither fully human nor fully extraterrestrial, moved among the shadows, their presence woven into the highest levels of power. Julian's face paled. You mean this whole time we've been living under their rule? You were never free. Every war, every revolution, every scientific breakthrough, they allowed it. The conspiracy was never about first contact. You were contacted long ago. And now, they seek to rewrite history once more. Evelyn's mind reeled. It made sense in a terrifying way. The inconsistencies, the hidden messages, the constant sense of being manipulated. Humanity had never been fighting against invaders. They had been fighting against their creators. Her badge, the artifact, was the key. It pulsed at her hip, vibrating in resonance with the energy around them. She pulled it free, staring at its shifting patterns. What is this really? The entity's form flickered, the space around them distorting. The last fragment of the unaltered timeline, the truth encoded within it, is the only thing that can break the cycle. You must decide, expose it, or let history be rewritten. A sudden force pulled at them. The vision collapsed, and the void shattered around them. They were ripping back into reality. They emerged back in the facility, bodies collapsing onto the cold floor. The alarms were blaring. Voss stood at the far end of the room, his expression a mask of fury. Behind him, the shadowy figures of the unseen rulers flickered like ghosts. You should have stayed in the illusion, Voss growled, raising a weapon. Now we have to start over. Evelyn didn't hesitate. She pressed the badge to the console beside her, its energy surging into the system. Instantly, the entire base trembled as encrypted data flooded the network. Across the world, the hidden truth was being unveiled. Broadcasts, archives, memories, all restored. The hidden rulers shrieked, their forms dissolving as reality shifted. Humanity's blindfold had been removed. Julian reached for Evelyn, eyes wide. "What did you do?" She met his gaze, breathing hard. "I set us free." The final tremor shook the base as the unseen forces collapsed, their centuries-long deception crumbling. The war wasn't over. But for the first time, humanity knew who they were truly fighting. The void of space stretched infinitely before them, a canvas of darkness speckled with distant stars. Captain Elias Mercer sat in the command chair of the USS Horizon, his mind still reeling from the revelations of the past days. The conspiracy ran deeper than he had ever imagined. The supposed war between humanity and the Zephyr Dominion was not just a battle for survival. It was a carefully orchestrated game by forces beyond their comprehension. "Captain, we're receiving another transmission," Ramirez reported, her voice tense. "It's from the same unidentified source that contacted us before." Elias nodded. "Put it through?" The screen flickered, and the figure of Dr. Adrian Voss reappeared, his face shadowed under dim lighting. The scientist, once thought to be lost in the black depths of space, had resurfaced with knowledge that could change everything. "Captain Mercer," Voss began, his voice calm but edged with urgency. "You have seen glimpses of the truth, but I need you to understand. Humanity is not merely at war. We are pieces on a board, manipulated by an intelligence far older than any of us." Elias narrowed his eyes. "Explain." Voss exhaled slowly. "The Zephyr are not our true enemy. They were once victims themselves, manipulated by the architects of this war, the Celestials, beings of unfathomable power, who thrive on the conflicts they engineer. They pit civilizations against each other, feeding off of destruction and chaos." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Elias leaned forward. "And what do they want with us?" Voss's expression darkened. "Humanity was supposed to fall, but your defiance has disrupted their plans. The Celestials are now watching you closely, deciding whether to erase your kind entirely or use you for their next cycle." Elias clenched his fists. "Then we take the fight to them. We expose their manipulations and break free from this cycle." Voss hesitated. "It won't be easy, but there may be a way. A hidden archive, one that holds the records of their past wars, their weaknesses. If you can reach it, you may find the key to ending their reign." A new mission formed in Elias's mind. He turned to his crew. "Set course for the coordinates Voss provides. If there's a chance to end this war for good, we're taking it." The USS Horizon roared to life, engines burning bright as they embarked on their most dangerous journey yet. Chapter 7. The Forbidden Archive. The journey to the hidden archive was treacherous. The Celestials had hidden their knowledge deep within the veil, a region of space where reality itself bent and twisted. The USS Horizon trembled as it entered the anomaly, the very fabric of time warping around them. "Captain, readings are fluctuating." Ramirez called out, "This place is unstable. We might not make it back." Elias gritted his teeth. "We don't turn back. Not now." Through the distortion, a massive structure emerged, an ancient construct floating in the void. It pulsed with energy, its walls adorned with symbols from countless civilizations. "This is it," Elias murmured. "The Celestials' greatest secret." A team was assembled, armed with knowledge and weapons alike. As they breached the structure, they found halls filled with records, holograms depicting wars that had spanned millennia. The truth was there, etched in the history of countless fallen empires. Then the alarms blared. "Captain!" Ramirez's voice crackled through the comm. "We have incoming celestial enforcers." The battle erupted. The Horizon fought fiercely, but against beings of pure energy. Their weapons barely made a difference. Elias and his team raced to extract the archive's data. As they uploaded the last of the records, the structure began to collapse. The Celestials would rather erase their own history than let it fall into mortal hands. Elias and his team barely escaped, the Horizon jumping to light speed just as the archive imploded behind them. As they returned to known space, Elias held the data in his hands, the knowledge that could shatter the Celestials' hold on the universe. "This war isn't over," he whispered. "But now we have a chance to win."